my name is Studio and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to tell you things that I wish I knew before starting art. Also, if you are new here or a fan already, maybe consider subscribing because I post art content every single 2 weeks for free. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at DiddlyStudio and as well as my second channel at Diddly Stories where I post gotcha. And with that, let's get into the video. My first tip that I wish I knew when I started art would be that drawings take time. And let me elaborate on this. Basically, when you are doing art, depending on what you are drawing, it will take more time out of your day or what you're doing. Say I was drawing a full body of a male and I'm not very good at males. That would take me multiple hours to finish, where sometimes female drawings would take me 30 minutes. There is a time gap and you gotta realize that you have to give yourself the time that you need to finish a drawing. Second tip, art should always be a hobby, not a burden. People don't understand that you shouldn't force yourself to do art if you don't want to. There's motivation and you need to have motivation to do art. Having no motivation in doing art just causes yourself to have such a burden on yourself and not want to do art. This also can cause people to burn out and not want to do any art altogether. Third tip, starting over is not bad. Starting over just gives you a fresh start, and if you really need to, it will give you a new perspective on what you want to draw. I've always thought that starting over was a bad thing, but in reality, it's really not. Just giving yourself that base, that knowing what you want to draw is not what you drew, just gives you that confidence knowing that you want something different out of it. Fourth tip, take positive feedback. Negative can make your self-esteem go way down, and you don't like that. Honestly, if you aren't asking for negative feedback on your drawings, then don't listen to it. Most of the time, they're trying to make you mad, or they really just want attention. And if you do want feedback, and you want actual feedback and they give it negative, it's not that they're trying to be mean, it's that they're trying to help you be a better artist. Tip 5, try new things. I know this kind of sounds like, hey, don't we always do that? Not everyone does that. I have a habit of drawing females a lot, but most of the time that's what I draw. I've always been drawing females, while others might draw men. Others might draw creatures, and other people might just draw anything. But I, in my own bubble, usually draw females. So it's always good to branch out, try new things, maybe do a landscape, do a male, do hands, do feet. It's always good to experiment with what you are good at and what you aren't, because it will show you how much you're growing and will teach you new things. Tip 7, learn your art program. This also applies with traditional art. Anyway, if you are trying to learn a new program and don't know anything about it, make sure to look up tutorials. It will really benefit you. For example, I use Clip Studio for all my art. That might be changing, but I don't know when. But when I was first learning how to use Clip Studio, I made sure to look up lots of tutorials on how to use it, especially since I knew nothing about it and didn't know what I was doing. This also applies with traditional art because, say, you are doing Copic markers and you don't know anything and how to use them or how to blend. Make sure to look up tutorials and it will just benefit you altogether. Tip 8, use references. I know that this might be a controversial topic, but references really do impact the way that your art turns out. If you need help using hands or how to draw them, or even feet or bodies, looking at a reference of something that you want to draw will really benefit your art and make it turn out so much better. A lot of people say that references are cheating, but it's only cheating if you trace it. Don't trace art. Only use references when you need them, and altogether, your art will be way better. Tip 9, if something is bugging you about your art, take a day or two and come back to it. If you don't know what this means, basically, after a day or two, when you come back to your art, you usually tend to recognize the problems of your drawings. Usually when you are drawing, you only tend to look at the positives of your drawing and usually see that, hey, this is really good, I really like the way that this is coming out. But if you are having something that is bugging you, being like, this doesn't look right. Maybe take a day. Maybe it will help you with your art, because then you'll come back and be like, hey, that angle is a little bit wrong. Let me fix that, kind of thing. It will really benefit you, and if this ever happens to you, just do it. Tip 10, self-care is key. I know I say this a lot, but self-care is something that you need in your life. I know you're probably asking, but I already do self-care. I already give myself time. But not everyone is the same as you. And this is just something that some people are gonna need to hear. Give yourself breaks, okay? You need them. Even having a day or two just to give yourself a break from art is so beneficial. It will give you a refreshing start, and then you can come back to art motivated and ready to draw. Tip 11, find inspiration in people. I know a lot of you probably have art styles or you're still finding them, but having somebody that you look up to and want to become with your art, or just have a style that you really like from them and you're trying to take bits and pieces from their art style and incorporate it to yours, just finding inspiration either by Pinterest for your art or poses or stuff like that will really help you, and I feel like inspiration is key also. But self-care is more important. Tip 12, you can only get better. I know some people might be biased and be like, how can I only get better? I'm looking at my art every single day and it looks the same from months ago. How does this even work? But giving yourself just drawing over and over and over, you will get better, I promise. Just look at this art that I did from 4 months ago, like the beginning of my channel to now. Do you see how much growth I've had in my style / my art? This is so crazy, and you don't notice until you actually compare your art. But you can only go up, and you can't doubt yourself for a moment because you are getting better, even if you are a beginner. Tip 13, take courses. If you don't know what I mean by this, I mean that basically you can take courses on really anything. If you want a more realistic style, they have courses on how you can be better at more realistic art, or you can do more cartoony, or they have courses on where you can learn how to draw hand proportions and legs and bodies and heads. Tip 14, you don't have to stick with an art style. Just because you might draw something this way one day doesn't mean that you have to draw it the same over and over. Some people have consistent art styles while other people don't. But that doesn't mean that you can't draw realistic if you are a cartoonist. Just because I draw cartoon doesn't mean that I can't draw anime. You can try new things, see what you like. You can even find new things that you want to incorporate into your style at the moment. Tip 15, forget about expectations. You shouldn't have an expectation on you if you are drawing good, if you are drawing bad. People should give you feedback if they like your art, and if they don't have anything good to say, that's on them. You are good, you are amazing, don't let anyone tell you different. Even if you are a beginner and you're still learning, there is something that you are always going to be good at. Either that is eyes or a body, or maybe you just have a killer stick figure. But that does not mean that anyone should be putting expectations on you. Even if your family is, that doesn't mean what they're saying is right. You are doing great at art and you need to keep it up. Even if you don't like art, then you shouldn't do it. But don't let expectations stop you. Tip 16, you don't have to have everything planned. You don't have to have videos planned. You don't have to have your life planned out if you want to be an artist or not. A lot of people will say, you have to have colleges planned out like 4 years ahead. But that does not mean that it's true. You can be an artist at the moment and then you could be something later on. That does not mean that you can't change your career, you can't change anything, and you will just get better. I promise. Being an artist doesn't mean that you have to stick with it. It can be a hobby, it can be an actual career that you are looking forward to and want to do, but it also can just be something that you do for fun. You know? Tip 17. Don't compare your art to others. I know that I've done this before. Doesn't mean that what I was doing wasn't wrong. Comparing your art to others will make your motivation and self-esteem go down way too much. Though someone might be good at professional art, doesn't mean that your art isn't good. You have a different style, you have a different way of executing your art, which makes you unique and why people love your art. Because you made it. You made it. Tip 18. Always keep trying. Even if you can't get something right, you should always try. Strive for better, don't strive for less. Tip 19. Art doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world, which means that your art will never be perfect. You don't have to be a perfectionist with your art. You don't have to make it perfect every single time. We have days where we just can't draw. We have days where our art sucks. We have all these different days, but you can't strive for perfect when you're never going to get it, because then you will never finish an art piece. Tip 20. Last but not least, art is a journey. Live in it. I know. I'm already doing art. I'm so great at it. But live for your art. You are making something that people are enjoying, even if you're just showing your family or your friends. That does not mean that you can't share it with people. Art is always going to be a journey. Your style is going to change. You're going to meet new friends because of it. Something is always going to happen that will make it so much better for you. I promise. Also, thank you for sticking to the end if you watched it. I'm really excited to post this video, especially since it took me so long to make, and I'm really proud of this. This is a new kind of video that I'm going to be doing where I do tips and tricks, more commentary, and probably more challenges on my videos. And if you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe and maybe comment if you want to. And with that, I'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone!